Paris had always felt like a distant dream to me. When I was a teenager, I would cut out photos from magazines of the Eiffel Tower, the bridges over the Seine, the cafes with tables on the sidewalk, and paste them into a vision board. It seemed like a world beyond my reach, something that only existed in movies or in the lives of other people. But over the years, I tucked that dream away in a drawer, along with so many others. Then, at 30, after a painful divorce, an unexpected job loss, and an emotional exhaustion that nearly broke me, I made a decision. No more waiting for the right time. I bought the ticket. I booked a charming hotel. And I went. Alone. I arrived in Paris on a chilly, rainy afternoon. The city seemed even more melancholic than I was. But there was beauty in it. The sound of rain hitting the cobblestones, the smell of fresh bread coming from the bakeries, the light posts casting reflections in the puddles. It was poetic in a bittersweet way but also liberating. In the first few days I did all the touristy things. Visited the Eiffel Tower, ate croissants, took a boat ride on the Seine, snapped photos at the Louvre. But even with all the beauty around me, I felt strangely empty. As if something, or someone, was missing. That changed on the third night. I was walking aimlessly after having dinner alone in a tucked-away restaurant in Montmartre. The city seemed suspended in time, and I let myself be carried by the winding streets, listening to the sounds of my own footsteps. It was then that I passed by a small bar nearly hidden. The misty window, the warm light inside, and soft music beckoned me in. It was like the place had been waiting for me. I entered. The ambience was intimate, with just a few tables, candles flickering, and a pianist playing something I didn't recognize but that seemed to caress the soul. I sat at the bar, ordered a glass of red wine, and took a deep breath. For the first time in days I felt at peace. It was then that I noticed someone staring at me. I turned slowly and there he was. A man with an impossible-to-ignore presence. Tall, dark hair, lightly tousled, well-groomed beard, and eyes that seemed to pierce right through me. There was something about him that mixed mystery, confidence, and sadness. As if he carried stories that no one knew. He was looking at me as though he already knew me. Like he could see beyond my skin. And without a word he came closer. "Bonsoir," he said, his voice deep and velvety. "Bonsoir," I replied, trying not to show the storm brewing inside me. He sat down next to me. We started talking. We spoke about Paris, music, travel, and homesickness. I discovered he spoke English perfectly with a charming French accent, and had an impeccable taste in music. Jazz mostly. I asked him what he did for a living. He hesitated for a second, then replied with a small smile. "I work in film. But it's not as glamorous as it sounds." There was something so familiar about him, yet I couldn't pinpoint why. Maybe it was just that rare kind of magnetism that some people naturally possess. Or perhaps it was fate. We talked for nearly 3 hours, but it felt like only 10 minutes. I felt light. Desired. At some point he stood up, paid for both of our drinks without asking, and extended his hand. "Come, I want to show you something." And I followed him. We walked through quiet streets, eventually reaching a lookout. From there you could see the entire city. The lights, the rooftops, the Eiffel Tower glowing in the distance. It felt surreal. There, high above Paris, he kissed me. It was a kiss that took my breath away. Intense, calm, yet hungry. I felt myself melt in his arms. Like everything I had lived up until that moment had led me here. We returned to my hotel. We went up in silence, exchanging glances that spoke volumes. As soon as we entered the room, we surrendered. It wasn't just sex. It was connection. It was energy. He touched me with precision, with care, with force. Like he knew my body better than anyone. Like he knew exactly where I needed tenderness, firmness, and size. He kissed me deeply, whispered things in French in my ear that I couldn't understand but could feel. The night flew by in seconds. And I fell asleep in his arms with a smile that I hadn't worn in a long time. When I woke up, he was gone. But there was a note on the bedside table. "Merci pour cette nuit magique. M." For a few seconds I wondered if I had dreamed it all. I tried searching for him on social media. Typed M with 100 combinations. But it was useless. It was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I left Paris with a mix of longing and disbelief. Until at the airport I stopped at a newsstand. And there he was. On the cover of a French film magazine, with the same intense gaze and that crooked smile. Marius Lefebvre. One of the most renowned actors in France. Famous, awarded, desired by thousands of women. And I had spent the night with him without having the slightest idea of who he was. I returned to Brazil carrying a secret that no one would ever believe. A piece of a fairy tale hidden inside me. Today sometimes I watch his interviews on YouTube. I watch films where he acts. And in silence I smile. Because I know what's behind that gaze. I know the taste of his skin. And I carry with me something that no one else does. A night in Paris. That was ours. Want to know what happened after that magical night in Paris? Leave your comment below and tell us what you would do if you had lived through an experience like this. Peach Balloon. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more exciting and emotional stories.